Anarchy Reigns represents a step outside the familiar for Platinum Games, which tends to focus on strong single-player campaigns like Bayonetta, Vanquish, and Mad World. This is the developer's first foray into multiplayer, which is very obviously the focus of Anarchy Reigns. So much so, in fact, that it'll make you wonder why it has a campaign at all.
Shit! You quit smoking? Ooh, what is the world coming to?
Anarchy Reigns is not an attractive game. Its character models look blocky and jagged, the textures look all washed out and low res, and the special effects are, well, the opposite of special. Seriously, what is this? This is disgusting. Anarchy Reigns does not look like a new game. Graphics aren't everything, but an ugly game that doesn't perform well is just a bad recipe. The frame rate tanks when there's a lot going on, and at times it's difficult to tell what's happening because the camera will freak out. Anarchy Reigns has a lot of annoying quirks like this. Not deal breakers, just things that make you ask why. The storytelling is a bunch of talking heads bantering about just how hard they're gonna fight.
Oh no, you didn't! Ooh, this shit's going down right now, motherfucker!
The way too serious melodrama in cutscenes doesn't mesh with the super profane dialogue and otherwise laid-back tone, fun hip-hop beats, and over-the-top style. As a result, the throwaway story gets lost and forgotten. Completing it just becomes part of the process to unlock characters for multiplayer. Platinum's debut competitive game is at its best when 16 players, using different characters with distinct weapons and playstyles, are chainsawing, spin-kicking, and powerbombing each other into paste. It's a chaotic mess, and not always for the greater good. Odds are you'll end up getting slaughtered until you discover the intricacies of each brawler, and start to understand the subtleties of Anarchy Reigns combat. Combos, weapon attacks, dodging, and a defensive 360-degree blast need to be used elegantly, despite the macho meathead attitude of it all. At that point, Anarchy Reigns comes into its own online. It takes the familiar, the 3D brawler, and starts throwing unfamiliar ideas at it. What we end up with is a lot of really cool ideas for competitive and co-op modes. We're all familiar with surviving waves, capturing flags, and scoring touchdowns. Anarchy Reigns just adds punching to the formula. A lot of them boil down to killing everyone else, but constant unpredictable variables during battle keep you on your toes. Out-of-control trucks will smash through the world, planes will crash, bridges explode and launch debris at you, and more madness happens on the fly. It's an interesting layer to some of the less interesting modes. The game types that give you a purpose really stand out. Deathball is essentially a super violent version of football, where you intercept passes, close gaps, and murder people. It's irritating that the end zone doesn't open up until you've maintained control of the ball for a period of time, though. On the other hand, certain characters are so fast that others will flat out never catch them. But hey, maybe that means you're forced to try out someone new when Old Faithful can't keep up with them. The single-player campaign brings none of this energy to the table. Sure, those variables happen from time to time, but they're less exciting when you're just running around from one tedious side quest to the next. Structurally, Anarchy Reigns demands that you grind through those objectives repeatedly to unlock the next story mission. That repetition is bad enough, but those missions are a special breed of awful, the beat-em-up's equivalent of minigames. Tasks include killing X guys in Y time, racing a clunky cart around a makeshift circuit, and escorting defenseless NPCs past incredible Hulk-looking alligator monsters. There's no character progression either, so you just kill your way through bosses, which, for a Platinum game by the way, are surprisingly simple one-on-one affairs, until the campaign ends. Once you finish the campaign, you see the same story from someone else's perspective, all while repeating the same or very similar objectives. If you've been absolutely desperate to take a melee action game online, and you have the patience to put up with its unnecessary campaign and tech problems, Anarchy Reigns might be up your alley. But that's the only condition under which it can be recommended. It's not on par with its contemporaries, and that includes other Platinum games, even in terms of where it succeeds with combat. Anarchy Reigns has a lot of good ideas that either misfired or weren't any good once they moved from paper to screen. For more on Anarchy Reigns and Platinum games, we've got you covered at IGN.